Okay. Okay, so what we will see, Arup, today is like in previous class we have seen the authorization types in Postman. So I have taken up some APIs where we can have a look at how to do the basic auth and digest auth. So these will be a kind of examples of those authorization types, and then we will have a look at Swagger documentation in API, why that particular documentation is used and what are its advantages. And then also we can see how we can publish one document of the collection which we have prepared. So these the three topics we will try to cover for today, and can get started with that. So let me open the Postman. Okay. So you remember the basic auth which we discussed in the earlier class? Like in basic auth, we will whenever we will hit the API, we will have to pass some username and password, then only the API will work. So to showcase that, I have this one particular API and we will try to hit this particular API. So let me just copy the endpoint. So these APIs are provided by Postman to just kind of do some hands-on on the authentication type. So let me just go to my Postman and I will just create a new collection. Okay. Just name it as, let's say it is authorization project. Okay, done. Okay, now just add some request. So this will be for this is basic auth. Okay, now we have the endpoint. So just copy it, just paste it, and then try to trigger the API. So this time we have hit the API, but we haven't provided any authorization, and that's why it is returning as 401 unauthorized. So to deal with this, we have to add some authorization in this particular API, right? And so to do that, we just have to go to the authorization tab, and in the type section, just tell that it is a basic auth, and we have to provide some username and password. So this is the username and password which will be applicable for this API. So I will just note down this particular thing as well. Username is Postman and password is password. So this API is just for the practice purpose. You can also do the same thing in your own Postman. So just provide this username and password. And now if we try to save it, right, and then again try to trigger the API, this time it provided us a 200 OK status, and also the authenticated status is true, right? So this is one of the examples of basic auth. So got this particular thing?
Yeah.
Okay. And also we have one more example of digest auth. So there is a slight difference between basic auth and digest auth, which we have covered in the earlier classes. So basic auth, no encryption will be done, but in digest auth, whatever username and password we are providing, these things will be encrypted in the system. So so that no third party can be able to track down the password and those things. So this is
In
more
star form, right?
right,
Star.
more safe format. Not in the star form, but once the username and password is provided to the API, then on the internet, it will be kind of a encrypted. Encryption means like here the username is Postman, right? But there will be some encryption engine and it will just kind of encrypt the username, something like this. So it will just change the look and feel of the characters. And the reason being, if someone tries to hack the hack the, what you can say, the network, then he will get the username at this particular value, and he will not be able to understand that the username is Postman. So that is the thing, how the encryption will be done.
Okay.
So this is more safe, right? Because in basic auth, uh, these will not be encrypted, and in digest auth, the things will be encrypted. So I will just note it that it's more safe format and encryption is provided. Okay. Well, so let's check this API as well for digest auth. So I will just, what I will do is that create a new request, and let's say this is our digest auth. Okay. And this will be the endpoint which is provided by Postman to test some digest auth. So just copy the link and just paste it and see if we try to hit it right without providing any values, the same thing, it is 401 unauthorized and status shows as unauthorized. So means this server has declined my request. So for that we will have to add the authorization, and here the type will be just go to digest auth, and the same username and password is applicable for this as well, the same Postman and password. Again save it, right, and then try to hit the API. So now this time it should work. So yeah, it will return back the status code as 200 and the authenticated as true. So this is for digest auth. And one is the bearer token. So in the previous class, we have already seen that how to access the bearer token. So there was a Go REST API, and I think we should have this. Yeah. Yeah. So create a user. So we were trying to hit this particular API in the previous lecture, and here it had some bearer token as a authentication, and that is what was provided over here as a bearer token. So this is also we have seen in the earlier classes. So this was the topic for authorization. So these were some of the examples of basic auth, digest auth, so that you can just practice these things on your system, and you will gain more confidence on where we particularly set the values in the Postman, like how to set the username, how to set the password, these things. So once the session is completed, I will share this note with you so that you can go ahead and use them. Okay.
Yeah, Avinash, basic auth is always written the unauthorized part, right? When you will add authorized part, then it will be 201 code will come, right? Digest auth.
Yes. If we remove the authorization, let's see if this was the authorization, right? And let's say we will make it as no auth. Then again, the server will reject the status. So it will again say that it is unauthorized. So
Yeah, we need
we
to
have
add
to,
the
right. We will have to add the authorization and what,
digester.
right, and whatever the authorization was defined for the API. So this one was basic auth. So just we have to go and add the basic auth, and these username, password, these things you will get from the client itself. Like what is the in real-time project, you will get all these details from maybe the developer or your uh, you can say the scrum master or product owner. Anybody can give you these details, and then you can use the APIs. So now, yeah, it is authenticated. So this is one of the topics. So when you will practice it, you will have a better, you can say, a hands-on for these things. So just try to do these API testing on your end. And bearer token, so this is just a token. We have used this in our previous class, like how the Go REST API was working. So in order to kind of create a user or something, we had to authorize the API, and this was the token. So in bearer token, we just pass one value, the token ID. And I think we have defined over here type as a bearer token and token as the value which was generated. So yeah, this was it for the examples of authorization. And now we can see what is a Swagger document and what are its advantages. So this is so whenever you will get the API details from your project or maybe the development team, chances are that they will share you some kind of a, you can say, a word pad, or they will share you the Postman collection, those things. And one more thing they can share is that they can share you the link of Swagger document. So let me just open one sample Swagger document. It is called, you can just use this. I will just put the link as well. So this is one of the APIs, pet store, and it is all documented with the help of Swagger. So Swagger is used to kind of document the all the methods, all the requests, which we generally use in Postman in a very neat and clean format. So the look and feel for the document will be very good. So I will just write sample Swagger document. Okay, so whenever you will hit this particular link on your browser, something of this sort will open up. So this is called a Swagger pet store. So pet store is the API and Swagger is the documentation. So the developers, what they can do, they can share you a link of this sort, and when you will open it on your browser, then you will get all the proper documentation of the API. So you can see that it has various models. Models means what are the functionality of the pet store. So these are something related to pet tag other users. So if let's say, okay, so let's say we go to the user section. So everything will be recorded in this format, like what is the method, what is the endpoint, and when, let's say, if we want to create a user, you can just go over here and click the arrow part. It will expand with all the details, like why this API is used. So this can only be done by a logged in user, and what are the parameters it will need. So see the body, it will require the body in this format, and the responses and these things. So this is a kind of a documentation which the dev team can share with you. So this is called a Swagger document, and let me go through some of the points. So Swagger is an interactive document. Why interactive? Because here here we have various features, like if you want to create a user, no, you can just go over here and we have an option to try it out. So if you just click this, then you will be able to hit this API from the document itself. So that is the reason why this is kind of a, you can interact with the document. So basically, let me cancel this. I will show you again. So go to the create a user, click on try it out, and here we will have to provide some body. So let's say if the ID is let's say the ID is 15. I will just amend the things which I require as per my you can say wish. So username, let's say we provide as test1. Uh, let's say the first name is test, the last name is 1. So these things we can fill out in the document itself. Let's say the email is test@gmail.com. Okay. And let's say the password is pass, and give some phone number. So these things, right, we have filled out in this document itself. And now here is a button to execute. You can just click on execute, and it will hit the API and it will provide the response. So this is the curl format of the response. So this is the curl command which it provided. And also if you can just scroll a bit down, it will provide you the response body, like the response code was 200, and we have the response body as well, and all the things which we generally see in the Postman. So the major, you can say, the advantage of this document is that we can go ahead and try the APIs from the document itself. So if you want to do some kind of a sanity check or something before starting the testing, real-time testing in Postman, so this document will be very handy for you. You can just go ahead with the API you want to test. You can just try out the API, fill up the details, and you will also get all the curl command in response, and you will get all the response status code and all the things as we get in Postman. So this document will be very helpful in order to uh, have a look and feel of the API. So this is what is called a Swagger document. And let me check if we have, yeah, used for API documentation and exploding APIs. So this document is very helpful if you want to do any kind of a prerequisite testing before you go and test it in Postman. So you can explore the APIs with the use of this document. And generally the developers will prepare the Swagger document, and they will provide you a link in order to access the document. So this is one thing. And it can be used to do a quick sanity check of the APIs, but it will not be helpful to do the complete end-to-end testing of the APIs. So for that, we will have to use the Postman, because we cannot write the test scripts over here, or we cannot do any kind of assertion or validations in the Swagger document. So it's generally used to have a kind of a quick sanity check of the APIs, and then we will have a better understanding of how the APIs are working. So this is about Swagger document. So is this particular part clear?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So in projects, there are various ways by which you can get the, you can say, the API collection the developers can share. I will just write down the ways so that it will be helpful for you. Ways we can get API collection to test. So see, one way is that dev team can share the collection, right? We already know that in Postman, we can go to any collection, we can just export it, right? And it will be exported in a JSON format. So this particular thing can be shared by the dev team. So we just have to import the collection in our Postman and run it. So this is one way of getting the APIs. The second way is that we can get Swagger documentation, right? So this is the documentation which we saw right now. So this type of a very presentable or interactable documentation can be shared by the dev team. So we can utilize this document to kind of initiate our API testing. And the third thing is that we can get it in a simple Word format or in the form of BRDs. Word format, or you can say BRDs. So you are aware of BRD. BRD is business requirement document, or you can say any requirement document. So in that particular document, you will get all the API endpoints and all the, you can say, the body and headers, those things you will get there, and you can use them in your Postman tool. So these are the ways by which you can get the documentation in real project, and you can initiate your API testing. And okay, and now what I will do is that we will quickly create a collection for pet store, and we will see how we can uh, publish our own documents from Postman. So a Postman also provides one feature where you can uh, just publish a kind of a documentation for your collection, and that too can be shared via a URL or a link. So we will have a look into this. So let me write down, okay, documentation in Postman. So let's see. First I will do is that I will create a collection for this user section from the Swagger document. I'll go to my Postman. Just a second, I will just create a new collection. blank collection. And let me rename is that, let's say this is Swagger Pet Store project. Okay, good. Just save it. Okay. Now let's go ahead and add some request. So the first one will be, we will try to create a user. So this is a post request. So I will change it to post, and I will rename it as create a user. And let's check what are the parameters we have to provide. So yeah, this is the body. And if we try to do the execute, right, we will get something. So we will get a curl command as well. So no need to create everything from scratch. Basically, copy this curl, right? Go to Postman and import, click on import and just paste the curl. And see, the request got created itself. And we can just, what we can do is that, so yeah, this was the request which was created from the curl. We can just save it,
Save.
right? Save as, and uh, we will uh, we will just choose one of the collections. So it was Swagger Pet Store project, and just save over here. Where it went? Okay, this one. So let me delete this one. Okay, so now we have this, and I will just rename this particular field because it's not looking good in the collection. So just rename it as create a user. Right, now it's done. So if we try to hit it, right, all the things are itself present, like ID, body, username, everything is there, URL is there, and we can just hit send, and it will return as 200 OK, and a message that it got created. So this is one of the methods. And now let's see if this post is done. We can go ahead and use get a user by username. So this will be used to fetch the user which we created. So let's say if the username was what we created, test1. Okay. So see, in the document itself, it is prompting that please enter the username which you want to fetch. So if you go over here and say try it out, and now we will have to insert the username as well, and then just hit on execute. Right. So this is the equivalent curl command which got generated, and this was the response. So status code was 200, and it provided all the values of the user. So for this as well, we can go ahead, copy the curl, go to Postman, and again just click on import, paste the curl, and yeah, we got all the things. So just save as. Yeah, click on save. Just rename it as get the user. Okay. And we can again go ahead and check this if it is working as expected. So we can just hit the send button, and we got all the details back. So yeah, this was to get the user. And let's see how we can go ahead and delete the created user. So once used, you can just click the arrow and it will be collapsed. So now let's see if we want to delete the user. So what is the API? Just click on this and use try now, and just provide the username. So you can just give the username and then execute. So yeah, it kind of deleted the user, and also generate the equivalent curl command. So this is the benefit of using a Swagger documentation. So basically it will give the curl command and it will be very easy to kind of frame the requests in Postman. Let's save as, okay, save, and then just rename it as delete the user. Okay, now just send it. And yes, 404 not found because the user got deleted. So this is the response. So yeah, this is the thing how we kind of how we will use the Swagger documentation, and we can extract the APIs in Postman from there. So is this part clear as well? How we use this document and how we kind of executed it on the document itself, and basically use the curl command to get the APIs, and everything is now present in Postman. And now we can go ahead and write the test scripts if we need, like these tests and pre-request scripts. So these things. So these things can be done only in Postman. So yeah, so this document is for a very kind of, you can say, a limited testing, just to check if the APIs are working or not. But at the end, we will have to copy everything in Postman and test it accordingly. So this was for Swagger documentation and getting the APIs from Swagger to Postman. And let me see if, okay. And there is one more thing, like once we create a collection, right? So let's say we have this Swagger Pet Store project, and all the collections are over here. So what we can do is that once the collection is created, we can create a documentation out of it. So Postman will generate a documentation for this, and we can basically publish the document or share the document with client or someone, so that it will be recorded, and you will not have to do any kind of a manual task to document the APIs what you have tested. So for this, just uh, just go to the collection which you want to document, and click on the arrows, and here we have something called view documentation. So click on view documentation, and it will kind of give you a view of how the document will be created. So it will just highlight what is the project, right? What was the request, what is the endpoint of the request, and what were the headers used, what was the body, which format of the body is this, and then for the get, similar things for the get, similar things for the delete user. So this kind of documentation it will prepare. And now what you can do is that you can go ahead, and here we have a publish feature. So just click on the publish, and it will direct you to a new link, and here just wait for some time. Let me do one thing, publish it again. So yeah, this is the documentation. Click on publish. Okay, so this interface will open, and it will ask you what is the version. So you can leave these things as a default, right? Nothing is much required, and let these things be as it is, right? And just click on publish. So once you click on publish, it will say that your document has been published, and this is the URL. So in Postman server, your document got stored, and this is the link. So you can just copy it, and you can share it with your client or with your team. And when they just go and open the link, so they will just get back the things. So yeah, they will get the documentation back in this format. So it will just, here we will have all the briefs of what were the kind of what were the requests, and the heading of the project, right? And all the documentation will be over here. So if can just change the modes as well. Right, this is the daylight or day, and if you click on here, everything will go into the the night mode. So this is for the documentation, and this is the document which you can share with your team, and they can easily copy the curl and use it in their Postman to run the scripts. Or what they can do is that here is the option to run in Postman. So basically, you can click this one, and it will ask you some options. So where we want to run it in Postman Web or Postman for Windows. So this is the web version of Postman, and this one will be the desktop version, which kind of is running on my system. So let's check the Postman for Windows and just open the Postman, and it will just tell me that please import the collection. So I will import it under my workspace, and I will click on import. So it's imported. You can see that the whole collection, we got it over here, and I will just rename it, like say I got it from the published document, right? So I got all the collections back from the document. So I can just summarize here as well that documentation. So yeah, these are the steps which I have just noted down. So go to collection, uh, just go to collection, and here we have an option for view documentation. And then we have an option to publish the document. And once the document is published, a link will be generated. And so from that link, you can go ahead and run in Postman, and then you can use all the collections. So this link, you can share it with the team. I can share it with your team, and they can use the collection. Okay. And then we can just run the collection in Postman as well. So yeah, this was the topic which we needed to have a look around. So is this documentation part clear, like how we generated the document and how we kind of got the APIs back into our Postman? So this is clear for you?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, these were the things, and I think there is just one topic left, which is like how we can push these APIs to GitHub, and from GitHub how we can trigger the collection from Jenkins. So that particular flow is pending, and the rest I think has been covered from uh, whatever things you will have to uh, know for Postman from. And so I think that what we can do is that we can cover the Jenkins and this Git part in tomorrow's section, and then we will be good to close this particular topic. And we can just have one more session where we can discuss with some of the interview questions, and then you will be good to just go with any kind of interviews with Postman. And I think this much will be sufficient for the Postman. So anything which you need to highlight, or if any other thoughts we have on this?
Avinash, is it necessary to push pull operation in GitHub? Like we have that option of public, right? Public, right?
Yes.
We can share with our teammates and all. So why is the necessary of GitHub?
So okay, so GitHub is necessary, no, because when you will use Jenkins is a continuous integration, continuous delivery tool. So if you want to run the Postman collection from Jenkins, so in that case, it should means it will search for the collection on GitHub. So that is the reason we will have to push the codes to GitHub. and then use it. So if in your project there is a necessity that you will have to run the Postman scripts using Jenkins and using CI/CD things, then those things will come into picture. But in general cases, or in whenever the project is starting for any kind of a API testing, those things will not be generally required. So you will just have to set up the things in Postman, and these things are sufficient to have a good start in Postman. So that is one way ahead. Like once you created all the things in Postman and you ran all the scripts and everything is working, now if you want to integrate it with Jenkins, then we will have to follow these steps. We will have to push the collection to GitHub, and from GitHub we will link Jenkins, and when we kind of trigger the jobs from Jenkins, then the collection will get triggered and it will run. So I will just in the next session, maybe tomorrow, I will just showcase those things on a high level, because uh, in project it won't be required initially, but I will just give you a look and feel of how those things are done. And you can just in any case, if any interview question is there around those topics, so you will kind of be confident to answer those things. So that is one thing why we use GitHub.
Okay. And use for Postman, we positively use for Swagger document like only, like give some documents, so we need to use Swagger only. All
No,
of.
all options are there. Let me share this thing. So yeah, I have stated over here ways we can get the API collections for testing. So yeah, one way is that the dev team can share the collection. Like we are creating the collection and we can easily share this collection, right? So the dev team can share this collection with you, and you will just have to import the collection into your Postman. So you will get all the APIs. So this is one thing. So this is the fastest and the easiest way, right? You will even not have to create any methods in your Postman. Everything will be kind of a pre-made by the dev team, and you will just have to run the APIs and modify some sections of the APIs. And the second thing is like Swagger documentation. So once the development team has you can say created all the APIs, so they will prepare this Swagger document, and this they will just share you the link of Swagger document, and you can open it and get you will get all the things like it's shown over here for the pet store. So this is one thing. So this is also widely used, and this and the last thing is also widely used. So you will get a BRD or some documentation where all the endpoints, all the methods will be noted down, and you will have to, yeah, you will have,
SRS, yes.
right. You will have to connect with your BSA, or you can say the business people and the development team. You will have to set some call with them, and you will have to explore the document with them, and then you can prepare the collection in Postman. So the best thing is that if you get a collection from the dev team, or if you get the Swagger documentation, anyway, you will have to schedule one call with the dev team to kind of get a better understanding of the documentation. So that we will have to do. Yeah, so these were the topics for today's session, and I think just one more topic is remaining, that particular integration of Postman, Git, and Jenkins. So that is, I will just showcase those things, and just you can go through the video, and you will have a basic understanding of the flow. But and it's a kind of a, if some interview question comes, no, you will be able to answer. So, and apart from that, majority of the things have been covered for this Postman. So I think you can just do some hands-on, just to open up the Swagger document and try to try to have some more inner more concepts over this. So this is it for today's section. And Just stop the recording.